Connecting. Okay, we're coming back live. So it has just 1 second, folks. The camera is booting up.
Yeah, sorry.
There we go. All right, and we're back. Thanks for joining us, hanging out, waiting for us to come back. I have Rick here in the studio today. Again, we're just going over some major topics of discussion that need to be talked about. I do want to send out a quick shout out to all the other citizen journalists and everybody that's making an effort to change the world. Peace, love, and solidarity. We want to wish everybody over in the Palestine area safety and hopefully peace soon. Check out the website, independentcitizenmedia.weebly.com. Also check out OccupyTheOdyssey.weebly.com, and a new project that I've been working on along with Occupy the Odyssey on Facebook, which correlates also to the website, is the firewellcommunity.weebly.com, and that's where I'm at now. Well, one of the locations of the Firewell community. It expands a broad area here in the Oklahoma City area and does actually connect more or less to the San Francisco Bay Area. So with that done, all the sponsorship and stuff, the promos, Rick, we were talking a little while ago about the Esoteric Agenda. It's a movie, a 2-hour movie documentary.
You can find it on YouTube. It's pretty much, you put an esoteric agenda and it'll be right there.
Okay. Well, I know you'd mentioned it to me before. I've had a crunch time frame to try to get that viewing in, and for 2 hours. I just haven't had it yet, but I'd like to get to that. And for the viewers out there, check it out. Give me some feedback, what you think of the movie. I'll be watching it over the next day or two because it's a top priority, something that I've been meaning to get to, which I will be getting to shortly. Can you give us some details on Esoteric Agenda, what it's more or less about, or some of the details in it that would interest somebody?
Well, definitely. I mean, the whole point of the movie to me is to point out the fact that these things that we've taken for granted, like the 30-day, 28-day, the 31-day moon calendar that we've accepted under, I guess it would go all the way back to Constantine. He changed the pagan calendar to a time frame that people would understand as being a Judeo-Christian belief. The fact is that time is not a measurement human, time frame. Time is actually its own time frame that humans aren't involved in, that humans need to be more involved in. It's the fact that the world's rhythm is not based upon, this guideline set down by a Roman emperor thousands of years ago. It's that our timeline should be based upon the fact that we live our day-to-day life. We aren't out there living in video games or living in cable TV or living in whatever else we want to immerse ourselves in. It's based on day-to-day life. Day-to-day life is much more... It's much
simple.
More... Yeah. And in the same time, it's much more fantastic than fantasy. Every day there's a mother that loses her child.
Or has one. Has another one.
Or has another child. And every day there's a man that goes out and decides that he's going to rape and kill for what he wants, rather than deciding upon the fact that he needs to join the brotherhood of man. He needs to join humanity as a whole. You have these people that just decide these things, and it's not the right path necessarily. I don't believe in right and wrong myself, but I do know moral and immoral.
Okay. Well, right and wrong, immoral, moral. values or things that somebody that's not either brainwashed, PTSD, psychotic, I mean, we do have the anomalies, as I would call them. Just like you have something wrong with a computer, you have everything runs fine except for one thing, and you figure out a way to deal with it. You put it somewhere, How do we deal with people that are, I mean, I don't know if this has to do with the movie really, but how do we deal with people that have those types of problems? Which is something that we'll be coming to. There was a feature story on wearechange.org that this will lead to. How do we deal with those people? I mean, George Carlin would say you quarter off like Colorado, Arizona, and Nevada, the four corner states, and
quarantine it, basically.
Yeah, quarantine and put the rapists in one state and the murderers in another state, and leave a little hole in each fence so they can kind of get in and out a little bit. Oh, George Carlin, I love him. But anyway, back to what we were talking about. How do we fix a problem like that? Or how do we deal with a problem like that?
People first need to understand that you aren't the victim. You only are the victim to the point that you allow yourself to be the victim.
Okay. Well, all right.
That's the first point I'd like to make upon that. We have a mental health issue in this country. We don't have a problem with violent people necessarily. There are violent people among the people that need help.
Mental help.
Yeah, and that's where we need to make more of a focus. We need to take our focus off upon, well, this state can make this so much revenue off of having this many criminals in there. We need to make sure that these criminals, these people that they say aren't fit for society, are rehabilitated, not punished.
Or if they can't be rehabilitated, that they have some place to go, that they have care, proper medical, mental facilities to take care of them, plus housing and food. I know it was Reagan that pretty much shut down all the mental facilities.
Yeah.
Everything's privatized these days, so everybody's looking to make a buck, and capitalism isn't working, obviously.
That's the neocon approach. Make everything privatized to make sure that, at the same time that they're trying to say, well, we don't agree with big government, we're trying to make this thing privatized, and then they let these big corporations come in and absolve or absorb these people that, they're running their private thing, and then it becomes a corporate thing. It's no longer a private thing. And that's the problem with it. It doesn't trickle down to the lower economic class.
For some reason we shut the camera, or the camera accidentally shut down. Just give me 1 second. So you were saying, my apologies, the privatization of it.
It's a mask. It's not really to make it to where, individual people are responsible for this or that. It's really to where they can privatize it and take it over by the military-industrial complex, because it's too big to fail.
Okay. Just give me 1 second, folks. We'll let Rick keep talking while I change the battery. That seems to be the problem.
And that's what I want people to understand. There is a lot of misinformation out there, and you can even say that esoteric agenda or zeitgeist or any loose change, any one of these documentaries is giving out alarmist information. But the fact remains is there are these things going on in the world that need to be dealt with, regardless of whether you're being an alarmist or whatever.
Okay. Well, not being an alarmist.
It's hard not to be.
Well, you know, you could call it whatever you want. I mean, a lot of people will say, "Oh, well, you're a conspiracy theorist and you're alarmist. You're a tree hugger."
Mm-hmm.
You know, but
All these labels.
labels, and some of them, depending on how you say them, can be derogatory. You know, I think that it's all a matter of perception. You know, I think that if you're seeing things from a certain view, you might want to stop and think, you know, maybe I should look at this from a different angle, from somebody else's angle, or try to, because then you might have a better understanding of how to communicate with other people and what their ideas are about, instead of just putting it in a box and calling it that.
Yeah.
You know.
And I'm very much against that. I'm very much against, well, this is socialism, this is capitalism, it's only based upon a reference point. I mean, our capitalism is not the capitalism that Greece had when they began capitalism. It's not capitalism as the Venetians understood capitalism. They were much more based upon a police state and a Roman Catholic Inquisition type state. And they spread out democracy as much as they could, but the fact is, you have this overriding socio-economic religious structure that controls this. And that's very much what we have today. People like to think that we've changed as a society.
Not much.
No, we really haven't. I mean, it's still outside of the U.S.
Well,
people
it's still the divide and conquer, and I mean, capitalism. I mean, it hasn't been around for very long, but from what you're telling me, it kind of has been.
Yeah, that's
democracy
I mean? And capitalism.
It's a different. It changes how people manipulate and control for power and wealth.
Yeah.
Or power mostly, because if you have wealth, you have power.
That's how they control you. Our economic structure right now is based upon what the Fed wants to put out there. It's not based upon what we actually have. Our currency is not based upon gold or silver or anything else that we used to base our currency upon.
No, it's not. It's, in my eyes, worthless.
It's monopoly money.
Well, most of the viewers know that are watching that it's monopoly money, and I've been pretty much trying to convert to a completely trade for other goods or services, or donations to continue doing what I'm doing. You know, and donations would only be to pay for the supplies, the things that I need to pay for, like a Wi-Fi or whatever. You know, everything else I need can be provided by Mother Earth, or through my own skills or the skills of the community, the people that I've involved myself with. I have shelter, I have food. What else do I need, you know? Friends and family close by.
There is a problem with the intentional communities out there. The thing is, a lot of people come at it from the angle that, well, I'm entitled to this. And you really...
Entitled, okay.
You really have to work for a community. You really have to work to balance strife. I mean, there's strife, there's all sorts of things, there's external influences, there's internal.
You know, since we've bounced from topic to topic and we're talking about community and living and working together, and, you know, that I've had a place to stay, this has been through a lot of effort from other people. Now, since I got here, it hasn't been like a free ride. I've done work. I've contributed not only to the community, but to advancing the community, trying to open up the lines of communication between other people, and letting them know what we're doing here, as I'm continuing to do here. You know, check out the firewellcommunity.weebly.com. That's the website that we've set up collaboratively to get this going. It's a not-for-profit organization of people, a community of people that are trying to make the world a better place and work together, not for profit, but for people. You know, this is what Occupy was about, and this was a community of people that had started doing this, had the idea of doing this, some of them, not all of them, but some of them had brought into it, of doing this well before Occupy started. And to know that tells me that there, and knowing that there are other communities out there like this, or of some similar fashion, where there's people working together to make the world a better place, to live together, living naturally, and you know, I mean, it is time for the world to change, for the thought of the way humanity thinks of each other and of the planet itself, and I think it's happening. You know.
What I want to add to that
Okay.
is that people have to put in the work.
Oh yes, the work, and yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
I've worked hard here, you know, to help.
Yeah,
You know, I mean, we contribute. We take turns cooking, cleaning, whatever our specialty is. I mean, some are better at some things than others. So, like me, I'm not so good at cooking, but you know, Rick's great at it, and I've learned some tricks from him. So, not to say that I don't cook, I do, but I think, you know, the way you guys have it set up here, since I got here, I thought I'd just let you do that. I do the dishes. I'm good at it, you know. Nothing like having clean dishes to put that good food on.
And I just want to tell all the guys out there, I mean, it's not hard to cook. You just follow the recipe.
Yeah.
Just follow the recipe.
Well,
it's fine.
You know, there's the recipes and stuff when you have the ingredients to make things, but like I've seen you guys put stuff together out of
Nothing.
I mean,
That's usually gin.
We got fruits and vegetables here, and some yogurt or something, and next thing you know, we got a yogurt, fruit, and vegetable dinner or something. I'm just making that up, but you know,
Yeah.
something comes together. I mean, not to say we don't go out and do grocery shopping and stuff and have the regular, you know, we'll mix a can of soup with some noodles and some chicken, throw it in with some cheese and let it cook, you know.
Yeah, I mean,
you put it in a bunch of noodles and all that, and a couple cans. You got enough for like 8-10 people, and you know, we pretty much do that every night, sometimes more. You know,
it's definitely a challenge. It's definitely a challenge with bringing everyone together on the same, you know, idea, and that's the problem I see with a lot of movements out there right now. There's too many chiefs, not enough people that's wanting to do the groundwork.
You know, since we're discussing these things and coming here to the Firewall community, what I see is like I said, that new change of people trying to do things a better way. And my idea was to document what's going on here and show people and discuss it, and hopefully get some extra ideas from people sending things into the website, how we could improve, if they have any suggestions on solar, water, water filtration, things like that, gardening, whatever.
Yeah, I mean, we don't pretend to have all the answers.
No, but we want to collaborate and work with other people and see what they have for ideas and show them our ideas. So I was going to document, you know, this leg of the Odyssey journey, my half of the Odyssey. You know, I still have other people that I'm supposed to be working in collaboration with. They're getting some things together, and hopefully I'll be hearing back from them soon. Right now I've pretty much gone off solo because, as you know, it's hard for funding to get a band of people together, which was our original plan, to have an actual band, which we know people that are fantastic musicians. Check out Thunderground Collective. Kevin Lash, I want to send out a shout out to you, brother. Peace, if you're watching. And check out OccupySFTV on YouTube. That's where you'll find Thunderground Collective and some of the recordings that I've done from them. There's only a couple. I do have more music, and that's the kind of thing, you know, that I think is wonderful. Is, you know, Kevin's actually putting together a new, it's the Thunderground Collective. He wanted to do, it was a, I'll have to bring it up in my feed here, but he's getting together more musicians to try to do like some jam sessions and get some things going in San Francisco, and I think that's wonderful. You know, trying to get more inspirational, different varieties of music, people coming together to do more jam sessions. I mean, there's tons of musicians out there, that want to, expand on what they do or meet new people, and I think that what he's doing is a wonderful thing. So I hope that's successful.
Yeah, I've always felt that. Just given the situation, you could.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry. They're actually going live here.
We're live.
We're doing a live feed here. Yeah.
Question?
Just
Comments or concerns?
No. How much? Yeah. We're doing a live feed.
Yeah.
I don't know where that went. But what I was gonna say
questions
is,
and comments or concerns we had to.
What I was gonna say is.
She was probably gonna ask, how long are you gonna be on?
Probably.
Do you need to take that call? Yeah.
I don't know. Who
Okay.
that was
Well, go
either.
back to what you were saying then.
It's always hard to find people that will, submit, that can hold their own will at the same time they can submit to other people and compromise and make sure that interpersonal relationships are working correctly. Because a lot of people have problems with, disconnecting themselves from the collective of people that you have out there, the American Idol watchers and the people like that,
Mm-hmm.
and then at the same time holding a connection with people individually. And that's what I've found to be a major problem when I was trying to find like a group of people to play with or anything like that. It's, well, we all have our own ideas, and that's great that you have your own ideas, but
Mm-hmm.
at the same time, you have to be able to relate to another person to the point where you might not be able to relate to a institution like the government or the church or whatever,
Right. Okay.
I find a big problem with that, a lot of people that blur the lines. And personally, I have no problem with any individual. It's when we get in big groups and mobs of people that, well, this is the right way to be because they tell us this is the right way to be, I don't really know how to express that properly, but at the same time, it's, I think people have an easier time relating on a person-by-person basis. It's just when you have any kind of entity like, say, a band, or you have a group of people that think alike, it's hard for them to distinguish between the submission of one and the other. It's a submission of ego. It's not a submission of will.
Ego. We could talk about that in another topic.
Yeah, I know. It's
Well, submission of ego
versus will.
will. Okay.
Like, we submit our ego every day that we go to work. We submit our ego every day that we talk to someone on a level that, blurs the lines.
Yeah, I don't do that anymore. I don't work anymore because I can't find a job, or I can't get a job given to me that's worth working at.
Oh yeah,
And
right
treated fairly by the employer, to the point where the laws that are in place, the labor laws that are in place, for me to work for them, because it violates my ethical, moral, it violates all my values.
That's
When I work for an employer that doesn't give me the proper safety tools, that doesn't give me the proper break time or breaks, or a break period, or a break when I need to take a break because I asked for one and I know that it's slow enough that I can take a break now and I won't be busy in 10 minutes and I can catch up. You know what I mean? I mean, whatever.
That's actually a common problem here in Oklahoma.
Well, it's a common problem as an employee that has worked in Colorado, California, a variety of states, everywhere.
Worker rights are out the window.
When you
doesn't
have
matter.
right to work, you have right to get fucked. Because,
It's right to work for slave labor
okay, that's
wages.
another way to put it.
at the
Right.
employer's
Well-
convenience always.
I won't do that anymore. I refuse to be the slave labor to compete for a job here in America. That, some people blame it on the Mexicans coming over from, it has nothing to do with them immigrating to America, because people have been doing it for a couple hundred years now. And we've been growing and growing and growing. What it is the exportation, deportation of the jobs that we have, or the potential jobs that we could have here, and the lack of, we have an infrastructure that's failing, and our government could be putting a lot of people to work, but they've got a prison system that they can have work for free. Oh wait, it costs them $40,000 a year. So they're not really free.
On the
it
books.
Costs you $40,000 a year.
On the books.
Of course, I'm not telling you guys anything. You've already seen this before. You've probably gone over these topics yourselves. But we just want to get it out, make sure that this is archived. This is a subject that's the topic of the times.
Yeah, what they really want to do is they want to enslave everybody in their judicial system to where they work for slave labor, and then they can pretty much come in, and people ask who they is. They is the Illuminati. They is the people that have ran our economic and political systems for thousands of years.
Yes, we went over this in the last show, and there's a variety of what they are. Odessa came up with a great definition. If you want to check that out, it's still on Ustream. I will be archiving that soon to YouTube, but it is still on the Ustream station. You have to be a follower to check in on all my previous feeds. So if you're not already following, click follow, and you'll be able to see previous feeds, as of recent anyway. Making modifications so that I can tell who's watching, who's not watching. Not who, but like that there's a fluctuation, like there's more people watching. They're starting to join in more, because this isn't like back in the Occupy day when you pull up a feed and everybody's like, yeah, check out this feed because it's live here, there's cops there, and you start getting a bunch of people. And I've actually changed feeds several times. Also, I was involved directly with the Occupy movement, so I didn't have a direct feed for the first 3 months. So I was part of the team.
As someone looking outside, I know you were inside, so you had another perspective. Someone looking outside, it failed in the same way that the hippie movement failed.
Which was...
There's a lot of great ideas. There's a lot of things out there, but there's no leadership at the central core. And that's the problem.
Okay.
That's the double-sided sword of any revolution.
Well, I tried, but they wouldn't let me be leader.
Yeah. That's
they wouldn't let anybody be leader. Anybody that took a leadership role was actually shot down by one person or another, or a group. One group or another.
And I can respect that in a way too, but any movement needs a solid voice that people can rally around.
I agree. It's too bad that we've lost so many great voices recently. I'm going to mention Aaron Swartz. Read the story on him if you haven't already seen it, and look into that. Aaron Swartz was a patriotic hero. He's a true American hero, getting the information out to the people that should be free, that we paid for. It's information that we paid for, that the government was only allowing certain people to see, professors and stuff. So, for what he did, he was under scrutiny for 2 years, and they say he killed himself. Now, I don't think he did, but there's, he wasn't like the Navy SEALs that killed themselves. Navy SEALs don't kill themselves, okay? Maybe a guy like Aaron, but I don't think so, because as a patriotic hero, the things that he was doing, I don't think he would give up his life no matter what.
And even
I won't.
Even if he had, what pushed him? The fact that he had all this government things upon him.
Yeah, consistent police badgering.
facing $1 million
And
plus.
it's not just police. I mean, we're talking psychological warfare. This is the FBI and the CIA we're talking about here. You know, people that have a very detailed way of how to get into the psyche.
Oh,
and, you know, I do believe that with the satellites and the technology we have now, it can, like, we'll just go back to the Denver thing. You know, that guy, maybe he's on meds and stuff, but with all the pharmaceuticals, all the radiation and stuff, I've talked to scientists, specialists in this, that, and you can see it on my YouTube station. That's I can't remember the name of that video. I'll have to get that for you in just a second. But Lauren Moret, she's French, obviously. She talks about how the radiation and what we're eating and stuff, how it's changing our chemical, our physical makeup, our DNA structure, and that with these particles latching on, like, to our bodies, we can actually be tracked anywhere on Earth. You know, she said that we could be tracked definitely in Berkeley. That Berkeley has got a operation where they're tracking any person that comes in and out of Berkeley. Then she was also talking about how, and mind you, she is a specialist in this, a scientific specialist. So the nuclear radiation, how it affects the body, and how the technology that we have today can actually mind control is what I'm going to here is they can mind control you to the point where you could go in and commit murders in a movie theater. You know, now, okay, sounds like I'm on a TV show now and I'm
THX.
Like, bullshit. Yeah, I mean, like, am I really watching this? But no, this is reality. I have talked to these people. They are educated. You know, I mean, you're educated, everything that I talk to you about. And, you know, if you don't believe us, go ahead and research it yourself.
Yeah, I mean,
You
that's what I've always been about.
Absolutely. This show is about bringing up the topics, discussing it, what we feel is important, and what our opinions are, or what we've heard, so that you can go find out for yourself. And something we're talking about is something new to you, look it up. You know? And share it. Spread the word. Say, hey, man, I found out something new. You know, the Federal Reserve is printing monopoly money. Okay, that's an old story. You already know that, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, and that's the perspective I always come at things. I don't think that I'm right or wrong. I just have my opinion. And whether it's right or wrong, you know,
right?
That I leave that up to other people to judge, and that's how I look at it. You know,
your opinion is as valid as the next person's, but it's what kind of data and information do you have to back that up?
Yeah.
You know, now if you look at history, why do we write history down?
Well, the reason to write history down is to learn from it, and the fact that we haven't had recorded history beyond a certain point is very suspect. I mean, we don't have a whole lot of history on the Mesoamericans. We don't have a whole lot of history on these people because the history of that has been destroyed by the fact that we had conquistadors come over from Spain to destroy these people's ways of life. There was people in the Aztec and the Mayan empires that were just as advanced as people of those ages in the Spanish Empire, or whatever you want to call it, you know, the Armada. The only difference that separated them was technology and the way of killing. They had guns, they have arquebuses, they had metal armor, they had all these different things. And these people, when they went out to look for these conquistadors and things, they didn't actually see what these people were arriving in because it was so foreign to them. And that's a very good point to make, that these Native Americans didn't see the ships that these people were sailing in on because they had no reference point. They didn't understand what this could be.
No.
And then eventually when they saw it, they couldn't unsee it. And that's the problem a lot of people have, now. I personally have said that I would have rather been ignorant to these things rather than having to deal with them. And that's not in my heart of hearts. In my heart of hearts, I believe, yes, it's good that I've seen these points of view, and now I understand what the true problem is, even if I can't individually affect it. I can spread that word out that other people get, and they can spread it to other people, and they can spread it to other people, and that can be something that people look at. Yeah, this is how history has gone. We need to understand this, that the fact that these people use religion, they use monetary systems, they use war to control us. It's not a new thing. It's something that's been heightened in the modern era because we have so much technology, but it's not a new thing to the world. What did the people do back when the Roman Catholic Empire, as I'd call them, ruled the world?
What did they do?
They had the clergy and they had the learned men up at top that knew church Latin, and then the peasants didn't know it. They learned it through the church, and that's how they learned their information. The church became an establishment of learning, technology, every other system that a culture is based upon.
Well, right, and once again what I see is a structure of people that have the knowledge, and they don't share that
With
knowledge,
the lower.
or they falsify the knowledge that's there, knowing what the truth is, and then they say, well, if we just twist this a little bit, we can make somebody, the way we say it, we know that it means this, but we can make them think that it means this,
Well, yeah, that's how they've perverted all the world religions. That's how they've done it. I mean, you constantly see people that read the Bible or read the Quran or read the Old Testament, for Judaism. They constantly say, well, this is in this book. Why do these people not follow it? It's intentional. They get people to believe that this is something that's in this book that's Holy Scripture, and this is the law, but it's not really in there, and it's not really about that, and it's not really about this. You have to delve deeper. You have to read into it.
Yeah, read into it. Well, like you said, Jesus walked on water. Well, he walked on water for the times. Like the things that he said, normally somebody would have been crucified on the spot, or the things that he did, I mean, now I don't personally believe in all those stories, although I do believe in the beliefs of, how to be a better person and how to treat other people. But walking on water, I mean, come on now, he certainly didn't walk on water.
Yeah, I mean,
he probably, likely didn't turn water into wine. I mean, it's a metaphor.
Yeah, I mean, there's two different thought processes on it. Some processes would say, well, magic and all these belief systems have been destroyed by the age of reason and the age of enlightenment.
Science.
And science, because science puts a box around all these things.
Well,
And that's the thing that scientists will always tell you, science is not fixed. Facts are not fixed.
well, math is permanent.
Math is.
Science, for the most part, if it's good science, it's based on good mathematics, good research.
But math also changes too. What we knew one day changes the next, and
True, but addition and subtraction doesn't change.
Yeah,
I mean,
it
until
doesn't.
you're talking quantum mechanics.
yeah, when you're going into the smallest things or the largest things,
Yeah.
yeah, it's pretty stable.
Real quick, because we've been blathering for a few minutes here, I wanted to send a quick shout out. I know I saw Ann Smith had checked in. I don't know if you're still watching. Ann, peace. Thanks for all the articles and all the hard work you do. We have Jay McNeil had checked in 10 minutes ago. He'd mentioned Rip Aaron while we were talking about Aaron Schwartz. And thank you. Appreciate you joining us. we're gonna continue on here. We did have, well,
There's so many topics to
a
go
whole
over.
bunch of things to talk about, but real quick, I wanted to jump in, and I'm going to bring up the audio because I can't show you the video this time, but you can go check it out yourself. I'm going to bring up the audio so we can start to hear it from this main article I wanted to get to, or it's a short documentary. The feature story tonight is by wearechange.org. You can find the video is on YouTube under We Are Change. That is the account you want to look for, and the title is the NYPD's Protect and Serve policy a thing of the past? That's the script title you'd want to search for in YouTube for that, under the name of We Are Change, and that I'm bringing up right now.
And just to talk to the skeptics on that, I know We Are Change is more of a leftist belief system, but this is a very good story. I really liked it.
It's a 15-minute quick video. You can check it out anytime. We're going to start discussion on it as we start to play it. Go to my Facebook real quick because that's where I posted it. I shared it from somebody else's page. In just a second, I have a lot of feeds up here. That was from, I shared a link. It doesn't say where I shared it from. That one, that's not it. Where'd it go? Uh-oh, Facebook is losing stuff now.
That's pretty common.
It's not on my Facebook anymore, and I know I shared it.
That's pretty common, yeah.
Yeah, and I have, since we're discussing this right now until I do find it, Facebook has lost a friend of mine, Mike Zint, in San Francisco. He had posted several videos of police violating not only policy, but law. Several times that was posted and then reposted on other people's pages just because Facebook kept removing it. Do you need us to close the door? Are you going to bed? Okay, go ahead and swing that. We don't want to keep the neighbors up. We'll keep it down. Thanks. Where was I? I got distracted finding that video. You guys will probably find it faster than me. I'll just go to YouTube. How's that sound? Instead of looking for it on my personal feed.
If you want to join us, come
I'm just listening first.
in. Well, Dessa's trying to sleep, so you'll probably have to
Yes.
come in.
Yeah.
She just went to sleep. She'll be okay.
And there's where it changed.
Yeah, I really
Is
wanted to
the-
get on the We Are Change, but I heard a lot of different things that worried me about it. You know, Soros backing it. And I know when you have the talk about Soros, George Soros, if you don't know about him, look him up. He was a part of the economic collapse in Britain in the 70s. And that's when Britain was actually our world, you know, the British pound was our world currency rather than the US dollar.
Okay, I did find it, and I typed in "We Are Change is the NYPD's Protect and Serve" in quotes policy a thing of the past, and it brings it up. It's the first one. I didn't mean to interrupt. What were you saying there?
I was talking about George Soros. A lot of people, you know, whenever I bring up George Soros, they bring up the Koch brothers, and that's something, you know, on both sides of the aisle. I'm not really for either one of them, and that's the thing. There are these controllers out
Well,
there.
they're owners of corporations. They're master manipulators. They have multi-millions and billions of dollars.
That's the
Whatever.
problem. That's the problem people have when you speak out against one group, you're automatically for the opposite group, and that's not the case with how I go from things.
Hey man, that's Luke from wearechange.org. I'm going to turn this volume up. Oh, hold on just one second. I'll put this on mute. so we don't cross streams.
wait.
Don't
I was
cross
gonna
your
tell him
streams.
something.
All you streamers know better. So I'll turn up the volume. Hey, Jen.
That the NYPD is here to protect us. Is that really the truth?
That's what we want to know. Is the NYPD here really to protect
Does the
us?
NYPD make you feel safe?
Sometimes. The NYPD? Sure I do, yeah. I haven't had any problems in the city. Absolutely.
So Luke's talking to some people on the
What I've seen, the
subway.
crime rate has gone down, so I do feel safe. Say there was a hypothetical situation
the story
when you were
on
on
it.
a subway
That's-
and you were being attacked, and the NYPD was
I
there.
wanted
Would
the
the
others-
NYPD come to your aid?
Probably. Absolutely.
Probably.
Yes, I
No,
would
no, no,
expect
no.
the police officer to intercede.
Probably I'm not like
Yes. I hope so.
If he was in the area, we'll hope so. You know, that's their job. Is the NYPD required by law to protect the citizens of New York?
Yes. That's what they're there for.
They're Batman.
I
Hold on.
wouldn't disagree with that, yes.
Yes, they do. They have to serve and protect.
They should be, you know, they have guns legally, and I hope them just standing there would be enough.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, it's in their code, so...
But do they?
Do you want to meet my friend Joe?
Okay.
What I've
Hold on.
seen from that
Hold on.
interview.
12, 2011, my life has changed forever.
So this is an interview with Joe that Luke from
I got up
wearechange.org.
that morning, it was like any other morning. I get on the train, I enter the train, I come right to this seat where where I'm sitting right now. I sit down, it's the first seat.
Let me push pause for a second on this video. So if you guys are watching this, go ahead and watch the full 13 minutes and 23 seconds. Let me know what you think. I already watched all of it, and to me, I'll just give you a quick summary of what I think. The police were negligent, and I think this man should deserve like an award for catching a criminal. I think that all of his medical bills should be paid for. I think that he should get a star or something on his chest because he's a hero. So that would be, you know, more than anything, I think that he deserves everybody's gratitude for doing something like this. You know, the guy's a hero. He saved his own life.
That's the problem. No good deed goes unpunished.
And you know what's funny is he caught a serial killer. I know I'm the cat out of the bag.
So-
Serial killer that had killed 4 people the night before. So watch the
4
video.
people in one night.
Yep. The serial killer had killed 4 people the night before.
This guy, he fought
And
him.
that guy, he was trying to get someone else, and this guy got him.
Well, no. The guy was trying to kill him.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, he was gonna take him on.
Yeah, he told him he was going to kill him. Anyway,
Okay.
watch the video. Check
Moral
it out.
of the story:
Uh,
you might be fucking with the wrong person.
He's a pretty big guy, man. I don't know if I'd be wanting to take on something like that, even as a psychopath. But
I know if you fuck with me, I'll bring on the.
I know if New York's
Rage.
gun control laws were a
I
little
know
bit
where it comes
lessened,
from.
this guy probably would have had a gun on him.
Wow.
Probably would have stopped the whole
You know,
thing.
the police were there,
Or
and the
knives.
police didn't do anything. You know, I'm getting a little bit ahead of you guys. You probably haven't seen the whole thing yet. I want to hear a little bit more.
First car.
Let
On the other
us
side of this
know.
wall is the engineer of the
Yeah,
train.
send me a tweet or an
After I sit
email.
down,
What you
two
think.
uniformed police
Let me
You
know what you
wanna
think of
hear
the show.
everything.
Same door I did. They
Yeah.
proceed to go right into the motorman's compartment.
You were
door to
there,
door, just like
or
this.
you have
Next thing I know, a man
feelings
comes up
regarding
from the middle of
this
the car.
issue.
He comes to a
Definitely
door.
let us know.
Starts banging on the door, bang, 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 looking through the window. And he says, "Let me in, I'm the police." And the police officer behind the door, looking through that window, looks at him and says, "You're not the police." With that, the gentleman turns.
Hold on. With that
So he
statement,
had a
right,
knife.
hold on. With that statement there, not at this point. He didn't pull his knife out. He said
he had one.
he was trying
He was
to
trying to talk him.
the
yeah.
police through the window,
Okay.
and they're in the conductor's booth.
Right.
Okay, so
See that he must
right
be a
there, he said
Scorpio.
he said that he was a police officer to 2 police officers who said you're not the police. Why didn't they, A, arrest him right then and there for impersonating a police officer? Fuck you, NYPD. I mean, come on. Whichever officers you are. That's bullshit,
silly
you know?
anyway.
Turns around and walks
So
back
anyway.
to the middle of the car. As soon
That's
as
what I
that
thought.
gentleman left this area, another person that was standing right here
My daughter
next to
is-
me comes up here, frantically starts tapping on the window, alternately tapping and looking.
Okay, so we have a second person that's trying to get the attention of the police because this guy is weird, you know. This person obviously caught it and wanted the police to know about it, and they would not respond to him. Okay, now
Over his
as
shoulder at the first man.
we go on a little
Trying to
farther,
get
I'm
the
going to
police
skip a little bit
and
ahead.
says, "You're gonna die, you're gonna die." And with that, he takes the knife and plunges it into my face. I realize now I'm in a fight.
Okay, so at this point,
Hey, listen,
The guy
I
had
guess
come
I
back.
need to go to sleep soon.
close the
so-
door.
Come on, Pumpkin.
There we go. So, the guy gets attacked, stabbed in the face, cut on the back of the head, and he disarms the man. And the police take custody of him. He's bleeding to death. They don't do anything for him. And then the police and Mayor Bloomberg, Dumberg, anyway, enough name calling. He says that it was from the swift actions of the police, the NYPD, that this serial killer was apprehended, when it was this man himself that was attacked, that, you know,
Pretty much stopped them.
stopped him. And like I said, you know, this guy's a hero. Granted, the guy attacked him, but this is something that I think that is completely wrong with our society. How do you give credit to somebody that didn't actually do anything? Not to mention, he sat there for a good half an hour or more before he was actually treated by paramedics. And the train hadn't moved because there were police on the tracks. Why were there police on the tracks? The incident occurred inside the train. You know what I mean? How stupid are they? And what are they trying to do? Let this man bleed to death? Get him to a fucking hospital.
Yeah, and that's the problem I see with society, is the fact.
One of them?
Yeah, that's the major one that it can all boil down to. If you are doing the right thing, but you aren't in the letter of the law, as they write the law
Well, law,
every year.
law is a human institution, boy.
Yeah. If you aren't within the confines of that, then, well, you're technically not inside of this law, and you technically didn't do anything.
Technically, by law, the last, 2, 3, 4 presidents, how about all of the ones that are still alive? We should impeach them because they broke the law, and all of the senators, and all of the House of Representatives, because they're taking bribes. They're
Yeah.
not working for the people. As a matter of fact, I've already charged them with, war crimes,
I would,
contempt against the people. What else? There's
well, I mean, they are
bribery. They've
they're-
accepted bribery.
They're pretty much traitors.
Traitors, yes, that's
Because
On the list.
they give their allegiance to these multinational corporations,
and not
don't,
the people.
don't make it sound like it's an isolationist thing. You know, well, this isn't for the United States, so it's not a thing that we want to believe in. You know, it's just because it's multinational doesn't mean that it's a good thing. It means that these people can put all of their money into future investments and never pay taxes and be treated as...
Your government has been investing your money into multinational corporations, whether you like it or not, and whether they are causes that you support or not. It's been their baby to invest in any venture that they feel is within their whim to take your tax dollars and your family's tax dollars and your grandparents' tax dollars and to invest in whatever corporations they feel are worthy. And they have also taken the profits from those ventures as well.
Well, look at Enron. I mean, prime example right there. You know.
Enron is one that, we got nothing out of at all.
Well, that's what they do. They move their accounts off seas.
Some we get some out of, some we don't. But for the most part, their families are the ones who get the profit. And that is capitalism at its core. And
that's
not to say that capitalism is wrong, but the founding fathers came here to
give a free market rather than capitalism. What we have now is not a free market.
No.
It's a rigged game.
A rigged game.
They came here to get away from a rigged game, and they had a good idea.
They created a new rigged game.
Well,
I mean, they didn't purposefully do it.
No, they did not.
Jefferson safeguarded against it, but it happened.
Writing the Declaration of Independence, Bill of Rights.
Think of if you would have came here
Jefferson
at the turn of the millennia and research that, what was going on at that time. Had you come to this country, what would you propose to happen? Probably what our founding fathers proposed to happen. But guess what? That didn't work out perfect.
Well, what?
Okay, and now
Jefferson warned against what's happening now. He warned against corporations taking over the
not just
government.
Jefferson. All of our founding fathers came here and they proposed what is happening now.
I'd say the learned ones like John Adams. There was a few reactionaries that really just were like, okay, well, this is a good idea, so let's go with it. But, like John Adams, Thomas Paine. Thomas Paine wasn't really a founding father, but, Thomas Paine, all these people that put out the information, they were learned people, and then these other people came along and they were like, okay, well, this sounds like a good idea. We're not that,
It's not that our founding fathers had a bad idea, because they did have a good idea. It's just, even any...
Well, free enterprise.
If we took a look at our country and we decided exactly how we want it now, and we started moving towards that, it would eventually become corrupt. And that's when the time for the revolutionaries come, and they rebuild the country. They break down and they rebuild it.
We need to stop this endless cycle. That's the problem. We need to stop this endless cycle of war and then peace, and war and then peace. Where, and then
it's too secretive. We don't know exactly what's going on.
The thing to remember about Jefferson is he did go over to the French Revolution and he became kind of extremist in his own right. But what he also said was the tree of liberty needs to be refreshed with the blood of the patriots and tyrants from time to time. That's the paraphrase.
Is that time? Is it that time?
Is it that time?
I think it's been that time for quite some time.
Well, I mean, they've done down the
process. I don't. We carry it on.
I really don't think that war through bloodshed is the answer.
It's
for
not.
Another decade.
So
that we can get this under control.
One at a time. Hold on.
What they want to happen is to create a revolution that causes the government to...
you don't have to leave. I was just saying one at a time.
I'm taking the hat.
Jen's excited.
The thing is, there is a revolution that they want to happen so that the government can come in and intercede and then quell the revolution, and then they become the police officers of the world yet again that come in and are stabilizing force.
Right.
And they've solved the problem.
That's not solving the problem.
That they created.
That's not solving the problem.
They create the problem
there's still a problem, and we have a problem with the way that the whole thing is being done. And I'm talking about from the bottom up. You know, when I heard that the local, state, federal, whatever part of government it is, if you don't spend what you put on, what was on your budget, and then some, you have to spend more than you already had to get a bigger budget for next year. Well, hold on a second. What? Hold on a second. How do you spend more than you have if it's in your budget? You can't do that in a household without going under. You can't do that in a business without going under. How is it the government does that?
They do it constantly, and whenever people call them upon it, they just find a new way to do it.
But the thing is they're not... When you're printing money for free, and you're just doing a trade with somebody because you're a puppet for them, that doesn't... There's no... The only people that are losing are the people that aren't at the top of the game.
It's fake money.
Well, fiat, as you were saying earlier.
Yeah, it's fiat currency. It's not based upon...
It's not only that, but it's hey, you know what, Rick? You're a friend of mine, so I'm going to give you special benefits, but I don't like that other friend of yours, and they're not in, right?
Yeah,
you and I are doing the
buddy.
You know, yeah. You know, cruising. We're smiling all the way to the bank, sucker.
Screw this guy. You know, we're cool.
And that's what I really like about being here. You know, to get off that negative mind thought is that here at the Firewall community and through the Occupy movement and I don't know more, all the things that are going on now, I see a real change in humanity. I see a lot more people stepping up to the plate to communicate with other people that, you know, what has been is wrong. It is what it is wrong. You can't think that just because it is this way and it has been this way that it'll always be this way. If you don't get out and make a change, then you're contributing to the problem. You're as much to blame. You are as condemnable as, anybody calling out drone strikes or pushing the trigger to kill children or pulling the trigger.
Yeah, because...
Doesn't matter. You are as guilty without making a change, without talking to people, without making a change. It needs to happen.
When you're given that information, it becomes your responsibility to pass it on. It becomes your responsibility to look up the information. It becomes your responsibility to make sure people know.
I'm not saying argue with people. I'm saying dialogue with them. You want to talk to them about it. Approach somebody. Try to feel them out. Now, if it's not the right time and not the right person to talk to, obviously walk away. But, I would ask that anybody within the sound of my voice, within wherever this broadcast reaches, you spread the word. Tell people to watch this show. Check out the archives and start discussing these topics that we talk about. Talk about the World Trade Centers. Talk about esoteric agenda. Talk about the prison system. Talk about politics and religion and what your differences are with theirs. But to dialogue it. I'm Buddhist, and that's why I can do this, because I like to talk about things in a way where I can understand where you're coming from and try to see it from your shoes.
Yeah,
because you have a different view than I do.
I mean, to hell with the thought that, religion and politics can't be discussed. There's no reason why those can't be discussed.
You have to discuss it, and I've been thinking since the first time I was told you don't discuss politics and religion, I thought to myself,
why?
Why not? Those are the interesting topics. Those are hotter than sex and lesbians and shit. I mean, politics and religion, I'll tell you what. I could piss a lot of you off real quick.
Yeah, I mean...
If I had, said something like, well, you know what? It's not that I don't believe in Jesus. Jesus wasn't really a man, and that's all a bunch of bullshit stories. You ever read a fictional book? Welcome to the Bible.
Yeah, I
You
mean,
know? I could say something like that, but that's not what I believe. I believe some of it's true, some of it's a little twisted for manipulation purposes, and the rest of it's bullshit.
well, I mean, you go back to the, you know, the Council of Not. You go back to all these groups that decided what would be in the Bible, what would be omitted, what wasn't acceptable by the church. It's not the fact that just because you are saying the procedures of how something arrived in the modern era doesn't mean the fact that you're denouncing Christianity or you're denouncing Roman Catholicism or you're denouncing any of this. It just means that, hey, you have umbrage with this point of view. You know, it's just like, well, the fact that they leave out the Dead Sea Scrolls or they leave out anything. You know, Coptic Christians would know what I'm talking about. Gnostic, you know, people that were trying to study the older religion and philosophy of Christianity would understand entirely what I'm talking about. The fact that people just dismiss it offhand just because it's not the accepted status quo is what troubles me.
The accepted status quo.
And that changes from year to year.
It depends on who's in charge and who's been brainwashed and
Where the balance needs to be made, because you know these guys in office. I hated Bush when he was in office. I hated Bush. And then when Obama came elected, I was like, oh, well, here's a guy that's going to be like the new Theodore Roosevelt, and here's a guy that's going to change things.
you know, I thought,
Nothing.
you know, for a while I thought, yeah, you know, Clinton's not a bad guy. You know, all he did was smoke a little reefer and then lie about it and get his wang sucked in the Oval Office. Psh, whatever. And then I found out all the other things that he did, you know. I mean, and he hurt me bad because here I can't get a job nowadays. I can't be offered a job, and I have I've been trained, I have skills, I have experience in multiple fields. And now that I can't get a job because they're all overseas for pennies on the fucking dollar, I'll lose my license if I don't start paying money. I'm not bringing any money. How can I pay any money? Okay, now after they take your license, if you get too far behind, they'll put out a warrant for your arrest and they'll throw you in fucking jail. That's like debtor's prison. I thought that was illegal in this country.
Indentured servitude is
Right.
pretty much
So
what it is.
now I'm in prison. I'm owing this money. I'm getting racked up more money. And now I have another record that says that I was thrown in prison for being a deadbeat dad, and I've been paying my child support the entire time. And now, you know, what? Oh, and the minimum wage is what they'll minimally calculate what I make, even though I'm not making anything. They can't calculate it at zero. They got to calculate it at $8 an hour because that's what it is in California. You know, that was my last state when I filed it. So, you know, now that I'm in Oklahoma, it probably wouldn't change much, even though it's minimum wage is like $7.50, right?
$7.25.
$7.25. So another 75 cents lower. What's that going to lower me? Like maybe $2 to $10? I mean, you know.
Well, I mean, the fact
regardless of what it is.
The fact of the matter is minimum wage hasn't risen with inflation.
Oh, well, if you take minimum wage the way it's come up and you compare it in a real flow chart, it's not one of those bullshit Fox News, you know, compare it starting at 40% up to 60% and then show the chart go like this. You know, minimum wage has gone like this, where CEO and corporation profits have skyrocketed completely through the ceiling. We can't even calculate them in here. You know, if I'm making $15 an hour, that's barely enough for me to get by on, pay my child support at a decent rate where my child can have, like, you know, shoes and footballs and stuff, which I don't approve of because they're made out of plastic and yada yada, feeds the petro industry. But, you know, I'd like to be able to at least provide an education for my son so that he can, you know, move on and have a retirement. That's not going to happen for me, even though, you know, yeah, I didn't go to college right away and I didn't jump into a fucking become a lawyer type thing and spend $250,000 to do that 20 years ago. Whereas now, to become a lawyer, it's probably going to cost close to $500,000 at a decent Ivy League school, unless you do it wherever online. It's still going to cost you $250,000. And who has that kind of money? When you get out, they're going to be like, oh, well, you graduated online. Right on. I'm going to hire the guy from Yale.
Well, it's always been like that. It's always been a buddy-buddy system. Well, you know my friend.
Oh, yeah, and I was in your fraternity, so you're going to hire me, right?
Yeah,
buddy?
yeah, we're buddies. We can do our handshake, and, you know, it's always been that way, and it's really been more prevalent since, you know, Andrew Jackson, he brought in the spoil system. Andrew Jackson did some terrible things. He did a good thing in getting rid of a central government, which is the big problem, privatized central government. That's, well, I should say banking system rather than central government. He didn't get rid of the central government, obviously, but...
Right.
He did get rid of the privatized banking system, and that's been one of the biggest problems all throughout our history, that we fought against this, and then it's come back, and